What is the spiciest gossip you know that you are willing to share on Reddit? Started work at this telecommunications company back in the early 90s. One of our AO's workers was diagnosed with 2 different types of cancer. Preventative, had a IoT of time off. Claimed to be going to Costa Rica. Coworkers started donating vacation hours, illness hours, having fundraisers for his treatment. Even though our healthcare insurance was really good, something didn't feel right to me. One was harassed a bit about not donated but made excuses, things a great light, newly married, etc. PUC claimed to have 2 cancers that, if remember correctly, would be highly unusual to have together. No, this was not a metastasis type thing. Anyway, as I am sure you guessed, knee used up in the donated hours and disappeared with the money. Trust your gut, people. Had an employee tell me he needed to take time off for leukemia treatment. Knee was good shit. So I asked the boss to give him a soy 1 extra weeks of rado shoot. Violation knew he had a checkered past. When the girls in the office wanted to send him flowers and were asking T what hospital, ended up lying about an outpatient facility he was going to. Once he came back, just told them was happy to have him back and didn't ask a lot of questions, so he wouldn't have to lie to me. My cousin Brad and his wife Eliza spilt up, assume he cheated on her because of past cheating on girlfriends. And he stays with his mom for a bit. My mom would regularly take my kids to swim in our pool when she is at work. We get there one day, and there is a woman off the porch in a vehicle we don't know. She is vaguely familiar but can't place her. She was super weird acting when my mom is trying to talk to her and explain why we are there and see why she is there. She leaves pretty quickly, and we find my cousin inside acting a bit weird. The next day, take my youngest to playgroup at the elementary school. During the summer it's drop-in, so it's easy to see families you don't know. The leader introduces T to some woman, and I try to talk to her and she is incredibly cold to me. After leave, it dicks. She is the woman who was at my aunt's house, so I'm certain she is the affair partner. Going through my cousin and his wife's Facebook and finally find her. She is the wife's cousin. So my cousin is cheating with his wife's cousin. On top of it all, she is me neighbor's daughter-in-law. The owner of my town's ice cream shop, early 40s, taping solicited offs of his employees, 17-year-old girl for naked pictures, and offered to give her $500 if she pulled her pants down in front of the cameras at the shop and touched herself. She took screenshots of his texts asking for this and showed her parents. They confronted the owner. The owner's wife defended him and said he was with her at the time of the texts and that he was just drunk. Don't know what happened after this, but I'm guessing nothing serious, since the guy still has his ice cream shop and Polo Pay seems to know anything about it. Edit, I don't personally know. Opay involved, heard about it from a mutual friend of the girl's dad, so there's not really anything I sap do about it, other than tell 2 other friends. Have Poe idea what came of it other than the girl not working there anymore. The wife is definitely a horrible person too. I've heard that she has defended him for other things like cheating as well. And know that OPS of the realtor one Eve, he cheated OPS with a teacher who got in for having sex with OPS of her students about 10 years ago, is made amongst these 17 minutes. He was like 16/7 and was not found. A server, the dishwasher. A guy in his 50s or so paid tourism brother to help him move. My brother is a strong football player, so not abnormal. After 2 brother finished moving, him and the guy said he'd give 2 brother up extra $100 if he let him suck his dick. Moo brother said Poe and left. Called T and told me everything. Have one mool, elderly dad, went to an all-boys school. His classmates kept in touch all those years and formed a literal old boys network. One day he gets a call in the middle of the night from the wife of one of his classmates with Apollo school. The poor woman was in tears. Her husband had just died. Lane fact, he just died during sex 0. Not only it wasn't sex with her, it was sex with his mistress. The mistress had called the wife in a panic as soon as she could leave the old guy's corpse off of her. The wife knew all about the affair. In fact, she had her own lover, and husband and wife were quite best friends and open about it. They knew each other's lovers. However, they didn't want scandal. If the guy's death in his mistress's bed came out publicly, the newspapers would be all over it, as he was pretty well known. So the wife's request was, could 2 dad and his other school friends please arrange it so that her husband died in her bed. So these old dudes, and they were all in their early 70s at the time, had to move the corpse of their friend at night across town, which they did successfully and uneventfully. LT never came out. The guy officially passed away, peacefully in the family bedroom. Girl from my hometown had a fake wedding. Basically, she was supposed to have a backyard wedding, but the guest list blew ire and it wasn't gonna work. Local reception venue had just opened, needed a test event for marketing, offers to host the wedding for essentially free. Bride is a bridezilla. Night before, she calls the venue and demands they change the bolted-down banquet-style long tables to round tables so their seating chart would work. Day of the wedding, 12 extra people show up with Poe explanation. Mother of the bride is berating staff, whole family has a pissed at, poor attitude, and bride has shut herself up in the bridal suite. Officiant is asking her to sign the marriage license, and she refuses. Can't be bothered. She's doubting the relationship. She's not sure she wants to be married. They go through with the whole ceremony and recession anyways, accept all the gifts, and never sign the license. Groom gets absolutely plastered. They decide to use the honeymoon, which real I1s have generously contributed to decide if they want to be married to. This day, it's unclear if they're legally married. Editorly, unfortunately, viral records are on IOE available for viewing in the actual county Dirk's office and not online. So still unconfirmed if they're officially married. Law marriages don't exist in no two state, so they'd need the license. One of my closest friends found out in her 40s that she has another uncle. It's already a huge Mormon family on both sides. Apparently her grandma had a baby when she was 16 and adopted the kid out. Grandma kept the secret to her grave. They only found out about this guy, an HLS ginormous branch of the family, because of 23 and ISPs are similar. This man is elderly and has found over 20 half-siblings from his father's side so far, including some neighbor kids he grew up with. Many of the half-siblings are open about being rape babies. According to two friends' dad, this has been pretty common for the LDS boomers. They're big into ancestry, and they are all finding the skeletons their parents tried to bury. Many friends, neighbors are interesting. They team well, but they have other friends, and they tend to overshare or be clingy. Well, the wife had what she thought was a month-long UTL or yeast infection. Overshares hex 1000. And Inali went to the doctor. Turns out she has gonorrhea. She talked to her husband and he said, "Oh, you didn't get it from me." And that was the end of it, even though she's seen new and different apps on his phone, including Grindr. And they don't sleep in the same bed anymore. And he's obsessed with fishing, and she usually goes, and he is always inviting everyone to go along with him, except the last few weekends where she hasn't done Eves, and he's adamantly refused to take on Kupal and Else, because right pointing really beeve, even though I always say no. And now he doesn't want company? Not sure if this is spicy, but it's interesting. Went to school in the same class with someone who is now a very famous actor, household name pretty much anywhere in the world. His Wikipedia page, and as far as have seen everywhere off the internet, says that he is 5 years younger than he really is. No one not giving any clues, but have posts hanging. Scappy career destroying in Hollywood. So good. Hunsky to him. EDT too? Okay, this is getting out of hand. No one has guessed it, although I'm having a chuckle at how people would respond if they knew. People have obviously stalked my comments and worked out that I'm Australian. But I spent several years of my childhood in another country. This happened almost 15 years to the day. Adon. But tell this whenever went to macho. But there is no point of right pointing. We were not living together. Kids and lived in a different house 20 minutes away. Had idea, which is why one give the benefit of the doubt when the spouse says they didn't. When we run out, I greeted, "Where's the rest of the wall?" No, because people smaps be that good at hiding things, especially when you're not always living together. Anyway, he gets arrested. I go to work the next day. Worked food service, and because it was a small town and it was in a manufacturing plant, my boss kindly put AIs in the least trafficked, yes, Roop intended, spot over the lunch hour. Lady comes up to buy a sandwich. Coworker's sister-in-law, so I knew who she was. Apparently, though she knew my first name, she didn't know anything about me but that. So as I'm cashing her out, she says to me, So, did you hear what happened in town yesterday?" Decided to play dumb and hope it was something else. Nope. So she tells OT that this guy who ran specific business got arrested for dealing. I'm okay, oh really? And she keeps going, "Yeah, the cops busted down the door and raided his house. His wife and kids were home and she got arrested for helping him. And their kids are now in foster care." Really? Yeah, they're both over in the county jail now. Oh really? Yeah, I doubt they'll get this kid's back. I'm just looking at her, exhausted, but very amused by this story she's telling T. Asked her again, really, and she was adamant. So just took a breath and was, "So that's my husband you're talking about? He and I don't live together and don't even live in town. The kids live with T, not him. The kids are currently at my house with T cousin and was at work yesterday when all this happened. And now here I am, so I'm not in jail. But the one part you're right in is that my husband is in jail until at least Tuesday. Have never seen the look she got up someone's face before, nor since. Was at that job another 8 years. And think it was about the 7th year after that, she could look out to in the Uve again. The absolute funniest part, the next day 2 parents took the kids and my cousin out for dinner. And we were at a waterfront restaurant in beautiful weather. The deck tables were all full but one. Guess who was seated next to them and didn't have a poopo or choice in tables? After we left, had to explain to mother why I kept trying not to laugh. She thought the stress of the previous 24 hours had made D's do until literally insane. No, one was just enjoying the fact that this woman who didn't know me told the AI wild, gossiping story about two do ice. Never tell someone you don't know a juicy gossip story if you also don't know the people in the story. One was in high school in the early 2000s. A girl showed up to a formal dance with a polder guy. Neither proposed, and it seemed really scandalous, but didn't think much of it. She and were Facebook friends, so saw that they had a few kids, split up, and moved on. Nee also had a polder daughter before their marriage. She married a friend's brother, so occasionally heard about her. Nee died somewhat recently. The daughters, the one born a year or two after the prom marriage proposal and the one he had before that, shared a lot of Facebook about drama with his estate. One day, someone talking about promposals made T think about this whole ordeal, and it got T thinking about the proposal and how it was the same guy involved in this other drama. I got to wonder how old he was and realized that since he died, could look up his obituary to figure it out. The dude was 42 when he proposed to AP 18-year-old. LT happened at a school dance, and Popo one stopped them. Not her parents. Not guy of the parent volunteers or teachers. Nee was probably about the same oddie as Tabo of them. Had no idea how fucked up this was when originally witnessed it. A woman in two-town low 40s in age. Recently had a baby. The dad was 14 when she got pregnant. Neither is her teenage daughter's ex-boyfriend. The now 15-year-at-home baby daddy was a missing person before this all Serena out. Nay had left his own dad, who lived in another state. The woman posted maternity photos with the 15-year-old father. This woman had cut tourism hair for more than half of tourism life. She was always a mess. But this was a huge surprise. One was in denial when heard it, even though, remember her talking about texting her daughter's e-hack, saying that he was her friend. Very clearly and truly knew that was wrong, but she never mentioned it again, and just ignored my gut telling AIs that. This was not Oka. After all, the kid lived several states away at this point. Months later, she talked about her new, younger, right boyfriend. Mulan heart dropped. One asked, how young? She said he was 27. Was like, who? Oka, good. Then, it all came out. A few months ago. Legal action has still not been taken, but we live in a small town and people in the area know at this point. There was a viral video that made it more of a known issue. Feels so upset for her baby, but even more so for her other two kids and the baby daddy. She is a predator and a groomer. I don't know if she realizes how completely fucked up this thing is that she has done. Haven't talked to her since, before she gave birth and all of this came out, and likely never will again. Munoi's spouse had a long-time, very religious friend who broke up with his wife saying that she wouldn't be a good mother. Come to find out, not on Eiley, was he an asshole for saying that to his high school sweetheart. He was cheating on her with his brother's wife. So his brother gets divorced, he married his brother's wife, and they have another baby. Her other two children, to the brother, have half-sibling cousins, and a stepdaddy undie. The new wife didn't have to change her last patty though, so good for her. I'm just glad the first wife, who we are also friends with. At my old job, two directors were likely fucking. One of them meets a really hot chick online from the Eastern Bloc, dumps the other director, and brings her to the USA. The dumped director starts working really hard, gets promoted and is now the boss of Soviet sex. Wow. She makes every excuse to fire him, including asking yours truly to document his activities, and gets enough ammo to do it. So he says once more he's handed the film, and came down 0 hours. And the depth of their relationship is starting to send a tune out. It wasn't just fucking business trips, but he actually met her parents and asked them for permission to ask her to marry him. Also, Soviet sex Vogod his Vakatomi reverses to impregnate Soviet sex queen. Oh yeah, I'm sure this will get buried, but family gossip. Morrison grandpa was Angle. Neither apparently never looked like either of his parents, but Poan really thought that much about it, because his mother had dearly been pregnant with him. However, too, Grandpa was an absolute narcissistic psychopath, emotional abuser as young adults, so obviously had some major issues. Near 30 minutes years ago, Suffolk had found his adoption papers. Neither had known his Hui life, and told no one. Moulton and her siblings did ancestry DNA and found a woman they were related to. She put on was their aunt. They reached out to her and she was cryptic at first, but slowly seeded out enough details for us to put the story together and figure out that his real father had been the Republican politician and vice presidential candidate Henry Cabot Lodge Jr. The story went something like this. L. Jr. was married with Severa I children. Native had an affair with a 16-year-old model and knocked her up. So avoid the scandal, he pawned the baby off onto his bodyguard at the time, my great-grandfather, by adoption, as he knew he and his wife wanted children and couldn't have them. This poor 16-year-old girl was forced to live with then in hiding for her entire pregnancy, while my great-grandma stuffed a pillow in her dress and went about town. Volume Grandma looked exactly like HCL Jr. It is absolutely uncanny. Ramoni looked exactly like my grandpa, and me and two of my siblings took on a lot of his features. So I literally have Henry Cabot Lodge Jr.'s dimples. Thankfully not his political associations. Would be nice to have the money though. We are extremely dose with my husband's cousin and his wife. Moo's sister was 2. One day out of the blue they stopped talking to my sister and ignoring all comments made in regards to her. At this point I was 7 months pregnant and so was trying to stay away from all drama. So didn't ask what happened. Nukura baby shower comes around the corner, and my sister told me she can't come because she has right, pointing double quotation mark. Moo husband's cousin wife gets really drunk and tells my dad that 2 sister fucked her husband. She found out and that is why they stopped talking to her. To this day, every time tried to tell my sister the fucked up thing she did, she denies it to this day. I know it's not a lie, because recently my husband's cousin's wife caught them talking again recently, and she showed all the evidence that they have been talking for years. She even has videos that he took while they were having sex. Mao's sister has since separated from her husband and does not know anything. He is an asshole to everyone but her. Husband's cousin's wife wants to send him every bit of evidence but has not done it for some reason. Very fucked up. Tried to stay away of it all, as don't want drama around my Z&a-half-year-old daughter. But very fucked up indeed. Your husband's cousin sounds like a huge POS, and his wife should leave him. Let your sister have him. He's no prize. Moeni and little sister's sister and Aya cheated op her husband with a married taping before they got married. They were engaged. Her whole family knows. My sis freaked when she found out and wanted to tell him, but her husband's whole family freaked out on her. So she told me. They have 2 small children now, and it takes everything in Tay at family gatherings to not blurt it out or to anonymously text him somehow, but don't want to blow their lives up now. Think her CLL is a narcissist, flat out. Her hubby's entire family caters to her, and it's like, that's just how Katie is. Sister had the first male grandchild, and he was a preemie, and it literally eats her up. Her second baby was born like a week early and had to stay in the hospital a post extra day. Mind you, my nephew is in the NLCU 2 months, and sister CLL is like, yeah, my baby was a preemie too, how scary. Then middle school had a math teacher that made math as entertaining as it could be, and was generally likable, if a bit annoying. Nee played a random song at the beginning of class to get us out of brain fog and make us focus on numbers and whatever. One day he plays Nickelback's LF. Today was your last day. It's the last day he shows up to class. We had substitute teachers for the rest of the year. Kids went from assuming he caught a cold to terminal cancer when he continued to not show up without any explanation from faculty. 2 years later found out he dipped because he was caught fucking a high schooler. A woman I'm associated with has a new best friend join the picture that she then claims is her gay BFF of 8 years. She's known him to be in multiple double relationships during this time, having divorced a woman before they met. Then she winds up pregnant with twins by said gay man. Neither of them are happy that their casual good times made babies, but through an action she neither aborts nor adopts them out. Months to by, babies are born, and spend the first month in the NICU, where she rarely visits and he never does. Her tote convinces her to notify his family, because they deserve to know. While trying to find contact info op his Poton, she finds he's still married to a woman, and he threatens to kill her if she tells his wife. They're 10 months old now, and he still hasn't met them, and he's Op's 5th lawyer in the custody or child support battle. On top of all that, she keeps the twins separated and rarely with her. It's very sad. The boy twin stays for a month at a time with her, tote in another state, and the mom brings him for a week here and there to visit. The girl twin has 3 families she circulates through every week, and one of the families has DHS op them because the family just went through a divorce, and the young kids of the family are very jealous, naturally, of her. And there's some question as to whether the kids want to hurt the baby out of those bad feelings. LTS, been something to watch unfold.
Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watching other videos.